American women have never had bigger champions than all of us in the White House. I mean, it's me, but it's the group of men and
25 women have accused him of sexual assault, but never has the White House been filled with more people willing to protect you. I mean, I think Republicans are running out of patience for this. Frankly, you look at this, you look at some of the results from special elections already. I think that Republicans don't really have the patience to stomach all of this. Like, eventually, I know they love Donald Trump, and I know they're willing to like forego their morals and their pride and their ability to tell the truth. But I think when it comes to the pocketbook, I think you're going to start to see Republicans, and already are, say no thanks. And I don't know that they'll come out. I don't think that they'll switch party. I think mostly they'll just stay home. I think mostly they'll just say, I'll wait for the next Republican. I think Trump is going to kill. I mean, that's kind of what happened with Biden. Trump was so bad that Biden got 81 million votes, and Trump's worse this time. Jay, please give older millennial his fiance back. He's devastated. Did he lose his fiance? Well, I don't know. Who wins in that scenario? They both win. I actually saw her on TikTok when I was scrolling through the other day, and oh my God, actually, I forgot all about this. They should definitely get back together. I forgot about this. I don't know whose live it was. Somebody maybe was there. It seemed like it was a smaller live, but they were having an argument about abortion and states' rights, and somebody asked her the question like, do you think a state can choose to have slaves? And she's like, I don't like slavery, but I was like, oh no, not but. But yeah, I think states should have the rights to do that. They just won't. But that was her real position. That was a real position she took. So I don't know. They're both pretty awful. I hope they both find new awful people to be with. Hopefully that works out. Sorry that you lost your fiance there, older millennial. Well, somebody tell older millennial we feel for him over here. We're devastated. This is Trump hosted an event for Women's Month.
We want him to keep fighting. Let's see
what this was. When did he do this? It was sometime this weekend, I think. This might have been this morning. Trump's taking care of the women. Well, all you women in here who were worried that Donald Trump, under Donald Trump's administration, you would lose some rights. I don't think you thought about this, but he's ending the war on you. All this war against you, he's ending it. He's not the one that's at war with you. He's taking care of the war on you. He's got you taken care of.
Not tell him under the Trump administration, we're ending the Marxist war on women, and you had a war on women, and we're protecting.
Take that, Marxist. Where's the Marxist at? You guys are fucked. Donald Trump has already ended your war. We didn't even know you were at war with the women, and Trump has ended it.
Women's rights, defending women's dignity, and standing up for the American moms and daughters. So many are represented here, great people in this room. American women have never had bigger champions than all of us in the White House. I mean, it's me, but it's the group of men and
25 women have accused him of sexual assault, but never has the White House been filled with more people willing to protect you.
Women. We have a lot of men that are like Howard, our head of commerce, I see is here. What are you doing here, Howard?
I missed that. What's Howard doing there? He follows you everywhere, bro. If you're somewhere, Howard's there, and he's laughing at your joke, right? I know we're not going to see him, but Howard Lutnick is there laughing at your joke. I told you guys earlier, I had missed that part. Howard Lutnick is everywhere Trump is. No matter where Trump goes, there's just Howard in his shadow. Don't worry, I'll be here to laugh at your jokes, sir.
Oh, that's a good. He's got his beautiful wife. I was saying, what's Howard doing here? It's like there aren't too many.
No, stand up. I don't remember how Democrats are pushing men and women's sports. Isn't that called war? One, that's not war. And two, who's pushing men into women's sports? You guys don't get to have this argument anymore. You just don't. You can't make up a fucking argument and then pretend it's our position. Our position is sports exist. Our position is trans people exist. That means our position is you can't discriminate against trans people just because they're trans. If you want to fix sports, if you want sports to be fair, if you don't think somebody who was born a man should play in women's sports because it's unfair, change the rules, but don't make the rules about genitals. That's our actual argument. Stay if you don't care, if you're not involved, stay the fuck out of it. Don't demonize people because of who they are. And if you would like to make sports more fair, by all means, make sports more fair. Come up with an idea. We'll get with you. But it's not any of your real position. You guys don't get to have the women's sports position anymore. None of you give a fuck about women's sports. Very few people in America give a fuck about women's sports. You've seen TV ratings for women's sports? You guys can't ignore women's sports forever, and then once you're like, oh wait, we like women's sports now that we can demonize trans people, and then pretend you're like the protectors of women's sports. There's a story that came out this weekend. It's I didn't verify it. I don't know if it's come out since. A lady at Walmart that was like in the bathroom, and some guy just started yelling at her, like screaming, like he needed to protect his kids because she was in the bathroom. She just happened to be a tall woman. She was like 6'3", and that's what you guys have created. That is the war on women. That's a war. Now, just if you're a tall woman, you can't go in. You just can't go to the bathroom. I was thinking about this yesterday. There was a video that I saw. I don't know. I like the UFC. I'm a fan of mixed martial arts. One of the things, like one of the most open secrets in mixed martial arts is the incredible cardio of the fighters from Dagestan. Dagestan is I think it's on like the east side of Russia. And it's remote. It's difficult to get to. It's mostly Muslims. One of my favorite Dagestan stories is when the war was kicking off in Ukraine, the Wagner Group, that private militia that eventually Putin killed their leader, they came in because people were being conscripted into the army. So the Wagner Group came into Dagestan and they were like, hey, we got to take you Dagestanis. We're going to war. And the Dagestanis were like, pass, we're not doing that. And they're like, no, you got to come with us. And the Dagestanis just like beat the shit out of them and they left. They had like hand-to-hand combat. They got beat up and then they left. But I'm trying to remember the name of it has something to do with magnesium, I think. There's a name of a drug that's only made in Latvia. It's for heart conditions. But that specific chemical that is in that heart medication prescription is identical to EPO. EPO gives you, I think, like more oxygen to your blood, so you have more endurance, you can recover quicker. And like Dagestani fighters forever have been getting popped for these type of drugs. Russia has been getting popped for these drugs since the 70s. It's the same drug they used when they got barred in the 1970s. And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, you know what's interestingly enough, in UFC, the best fighters are all manipulating their genetics. They're all using some sort of, they'll use beta blockers, they'll use testosterone, not so much like or they'll use HGH, not so much steroids, but EPO. And they're doing things constantly to change their body. Like, let me show you the back. Let me just show you a Dagestani. Let's see, Khabib. Like, every Dagestani's back muscles are just absolutely insane. Here's Khabib Nurmagomedov, and obviously this is on a weight cut day, but just absolutely shredded. Guy walks around like 190, then fights at 155, and he never, ever, ever gets tired. Now, some of that I think is their diet. Khabib is a devout Muslim, and he's very careful with his diet. They don't drink. They don't smoke. So part of it, and they live at a high elevation. So they already have an advantage. But I was thinking about just like in the men's sports. Did you know in the NBA, you are allowed to have double the amount of testosterone that anybody else can have? Did you know that? So you look at a guy like LeBron James, who's playing at 40 years old now. He's allowed to have double the amount of testosterone is like I would walk around with. And they increased that because it helps with injury prevention, right? He's been long accused of doing EPO. Maybe he goes overseas all the time, gets these surgeries. Tiger Woods did the same thing. Tiger Woods was clearly on HGH. You have in baseball and football, all these guys are taking all of these supplements to modify their performance and to improve their performance. And nobody says shit. And the only reason but then you go to the Olympics and you have that one boxer who wins, and they accuse her of being trans, and the accusation is because she had elevated levels of testosterone, which was a condition they figured that out from like a previous fight, like a previous competition that was based in Russia. We never saw the test results. It's just what they said. It really does boil down to like this idea that men are allowed to physically alter their bodies, therefore they're able to physically alter their performance. They're able to do these things that make them much better than the athletes in the 80s and the 90s, much better than amateur athletes, much better than collegiate athletes. There's this, you see it from like college athletics to professional athletics. There's often this massive increase in performance. There's often a massive increase in size, in muscle, in recovery. All of a sudden they get done with college and high school, and even though they're getting older, they're recovering from injuries better. They have better endurance. They have more muscle. They're able to keep on muscle, despite even if their diet isn't totally in check. It's a weird thing that we do in this country. Like, we demonize any woman who uses the exact same stuff that all these men use to make their sports performance so much higher. And then you go, oh, men always beat women at sports. Sure. They also have not only a genetic advantage in many sports like basketball with height and strength, and football, baseball, soccer, but they also get to take performance-enhancing drugs. And if a woman takes performance-enhancing drugs, like, she's literally labeled trans and demonized, and people come after her all day long. There was a fighter named Cyborg. I don't know if she's still fighting anymore. She'd gotten popped for steroids, and for literally, Dana White had to apologize because Dana White said, that's a man. That's a man over there. It's just a weird thing we do, but nobody cares about that. None of you give a flying fuck that these athletes are taking performance-enhancing drugs. And by the way, I don't care either. But you don't get to keep positioning this bullshit argument that, like, you stand for women. You don't. You just want women to look a certain way. You want women to act a certain way. And when it's like outside of your standards, you just want to ban it. You don't want it to exist anymore. That's what this is. But you guys don't get to keep pretending that you're actually out here defending women.
Men in this audience, actually. But he's a big advocate, and we're going to be making right after this, we're going to be making a big special announcement, Howard and I and Scott and a few other people.
Yeah, Ricardo, that's what he said. Looks like Vanderlei Silva in a dress.
Cars. We have Liberation Day in America. That's where we take back all of this money that's been ripped off from us for so many decades, and we start a process. We're going to go with the tariffs and cars, and as you've probably been reading, it's all over the place. You've been reading and seeing and watching car companies and every other form of company. They're pouring back into our country at levels never seen before.
Now, just a reminder that Trump will take any opportunity to brag about himself. This is an event celebrating women, and he's now lying about all these auto manufacturers pouring back into our country. You'll see conservatives today talking about Ford committing to bring like 4 factories back, and then they asked the CEO of Ford. He's like, no, yeah, we're not doing that. Happy Trans Day of Visibility, chat. Keep it up, Jay. I did not know today was Trans Day of Visibility. I didn't know. That was well timed by me. Happy Trans Day of Visibility, everybody. Good to have you.
We're up to, I guess, close, Howard, to $5 trillion of investments already, and there's never been that much for a year. We did that in a period of 6 weeks. There's never been any numbers like that. We've never seen. They're all coming in so they don't have to pay tariffs. It's very simple, because if you build your product in the USA, there is no tariff. On day one, I made the official policy of the United States government that there are only 2 genders, male and female. Is there anybody, seriously, is there anybody that disagrees with that in this room?
Yeah. Probably not in that room. Let's see. Probably not in that room. Pretty stereotypical lack of diversity there, and with diversity of thought. You usually don't get a group of MAGA folks who have a wide diversity of thought.
I was thinking maybe somebody from the press might raise their hand. I don't think so. There aren't too many people. You know, it's amazing. It's got to be like a 98% issue, right? So what are they doing, Marjorie? What are they doing?
Yeah, that's Marge.
They're fighting for
Marge has a good idea of what's going on.
2% issue. That's good. Let them keep doing it. No matter how many surgeries you have or chemicals you inject, if you're born with male DNA in every cell of your body, you can never become a woman. You're not going to be a woman.
I wonder if they all call Caitlyn Jenner Bruce. Do they all do that? I wonder when Caitlyn Jenner's at Mar-a-Lago, which bathroom she uses. Did anybody get an answer to that? See how selective they are? Like, they'll do it because it makes sense, right? It makes sense to do that. It doesn't hurt anybody that Caitlyn Jenner is used to be Bruce Jenner and is now Caitlyn Jenner. Clearly, it didn't hurt anybody. Nobody got hurt from that. And Caitlyn Jenner's hanging around with them all the time. I just wonder.
And that's why last month I proudly signed a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports, and it was very popular and very...
Yeah, that already exists. So I don't know. Men can't compete in women's sports. That already exists. That's what... this dude, all he does is sign executive orders for no reason.
Very popular. We had a track meet, and it was so disparaging to great women athletes. I've known so many great women athletes. I gave Annika Sorenstam the Medal of Freedom here not so long ago, and these are unbelievable.
By the way, and just to show you how this works out, like Annika Sorenstam, who is widely regarded as the greatest female golfer of all time, played in multiple men's events, and she played from the men's tees, and she beat a lot of the men. Just want to throw that out there.
Athletes, but it's so ridiculous. I had a track meet, and you heard me talking about long distance track meet. The man won by 5 hours and 14 minutes and 12 seconds, and I said, "This is not good." And you want to see worse? Take a look at the weightlifting records. Take a look at the...
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Let me hear those numbers again.
To great women athletes. I've known so many great women athletes. I gave Annika Sorenstam the Medal of Freedom here not so long ago, and these are unbelievable athletes, but it's so ridiculous. I had a track meet, and you heard me talking about long distance track meet. The man won by 5 hours and 14 minutes and 12 seconds.
How long was this race? Isn't like a good time for a marathon like 4 hours? What's a good time for a marathon? Let's see. Recreational runner under 4 hours is great. Elite runners times 2 hours and 15 minutes. All right, let's find a fact check on this. What the fuck is he talking about? How long was this race? Oh, is it cycling? Is he mixing this up? So the cyclist he's referring to is Austin Killips, a transgender woman who set a new fastest known time on the 800-mile Arizona trail race in May of 2024. Killips competed the grueling race in 8 days, 23 hours and 27 minutes, improving upon the previous record by 5 hours and 14 minutes. Okay. What Trump conveniently left out is that time was beaten later that year by Justinas Levejka. Okay, so all right, so 5 hours makes a little more sense when it takes 8 days. Got it.
And I said, "This is not good." And you want to see worse? Take a look at the weightlifting records. Take a look at the boxing.
It was a co-ed race. Oh, okay. Okay, so okay. So in other words, Killips didn't take away a victory from another woman, nor was she competing in a field of women-only racers. She completed an individual time trial, a self-paced attempt outside of the formal race group. Her record stood until Levejka broke it a few months later. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thank you. All right. That makes sense.
Take a look at this. The whole thing is ridiculous. And frankly, it's demeaning to women. And you are superior to men, in my opinion. What do I know? You are. I see you. No, they are superior. I've known it all my life, and I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy. Are you also banned?
Come on now. Who believes that? Who raise your hand if you think Trump believes that women are superior to him. All women are superior to Trump. Just raise your hand if you think that's true. There's no way he thinks that. Not even in the slightest.
Puberty blockers. Can you believe I'm even saying this? And the sexual mutilation of minor youth. Now, who would think, let's go back 10 or 15 years. If you ever heard a statement like that, you'd say, what the hell is he even talking about, right, Brooke? What is he talking about? Puberty blockers. But that's where we are. That's where we've come, and we're ending it. We're sending it back to where it came from, oblivion, right?
Camera workers.
So in the
puberty blockers have been around for a long time, and they're not getting rid of puberty blockers yet.
The recent election, we did fantastically well with women. I kept hearing women don't like them. I said, I think they do. You know, don't like fake polls. Don't like me. That's who don't like me. But
women love me unless you poll them. But the polls are wrong. Women exit polling say women hates me. Every poll that exists says women don't like me. But if you ignore all the polls and all the people who vote, and you just say women love me and don't look at any of the numbers, sure, yeah, women are big fans.
We're setting records in so many of these cases, and I was for women. I was for the women, the suburban housewife, where I stopped low-income housing projects from being built at a house next to you, where people were being decimated. The houses were being literally ripped up and destroyed. And I stopped it, and we've stopped it again. We had to stop it again. I stopped it first term. We had a great first term.
I think he's talking about like public housing or like publicly subsidized housing. Like he wouldn't let them build in the suburbs. I think that's what he's talking about. He's like, I saved you guys from having to live next to poor people.